Hello, investors. It's Don Vandenbord, Senior Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Friday, November 3rd, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you from Auburn, Alabama. Yes, Auburn, Alabama, with tonight's Revere Market Insight video. State of the market, we're in an uptrend since the back-to-back follow-through days on Wednesday and Thursday, and big change in the market this week. This is going to be abbreviated video as I'm on the road for my son's med school white coat ceremony. Going to knock this out real quick. Won't be a tail of the tape and some abbreviated charts, but we will talk about the progressive exposure that we did this week. Check the trend gauge over here. Upgrade leaders to bullish. Upgrade short-term trend. All 5 of the major indexes. 2 closes above their 21-day exponential moving average. What a change since Jerome Powell's press conference Wednesday afternoon. Medium term, still need multiple closes above the 50-day moving average, but certainly improving there. Not on small and mid, but the big cap stocks are. Big cap indexes. Long term, mixed bag. Dow and S&P and the NASDAQ above the 200-day moving average. Mid and small caps still below. So what happened today? I've been talking about a checklist of the things that the bulls want to see to get confidence in this rally. We got another one, another check in the bullish column this morning with a weak NFP report. Bad news is still good news as it cements the Fed's penchant to stop raising interest rates. So gap up on the weak non-farm payroll report, broad strength in the market. You can see this from the numbers we've got below. Big seven up 2.61%. I'm not sure that number's right. Bear with me for 1 second. Uh, we're going to go with it for now. RG8 up 1.1%. S&P 500 up 0.94%. Equal weight up 1.64%. This is good. This means that there's breadth in the market. It's not being dominated by the big 7 stocks. NASDAQ 100, this number's not right here. I got to double check that before the end of the video. NASDAQ 100 up 1.17%, equal weight up 1.72%. That's good. Dow up 0.7, mid caps up 2%, Russell 2000 small caps up 2.7%. Global Diversified 60/40 up 0.9%. In-house GROTECTION lagged again today, up 0.43% as we continue to build out our positions. No tail of the tape. There will be charts, however, tonight. Let's get the email out of the way. Don@revereasset.com. The phone's 855 Real Wealth. That's 855-732-5932. If you're interested in becoming a client, my partner Dan Stewart is at Dan@revereasset.com. All right, so let's start off here with a very nice cup that we're building out here. Will we put a handle on this? This is a 60-minute chart of the S&P 500. The whole pullback started right here on the 17th with this failed breakout above this 43.85 level, and we just kind of went into a severe sell-off after that. Bottomed on the 27th, gapped up on the 30th, and then here's the key level right here. This is, you can see this bar. This is Jerome Powell starting to speak. Strong close on Wednesday, gap up on Thursday, gap up on Friday. Is it time to put in a handle on this 60-minute cup and handle? I would not be surprised if we did. We're kind of pausing right below this 43.85, and we've got this unfilled gap at 4,400 here. Let's go to the daily chart so you can see just how far we've come. 5 straight days up now, close above the 50-day moving average. Clear hook higher on the 21-day moving average. Just really unbridled strength in the market since Wednesday afternoon with Jay Powell. Let's go to the NASDAQ 100. Even stronger, up 1.17% today. Clear break above the 50-day moving average. Let's go to the NASDAQ. Let's go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I am not on my game today with only one laptop screen here instead of my multi-monitors. So this is a scaled down version here, but you can see the Dow putting distance between the 200-day moving average and a close above the 50-day moving average. Mid caps really rock today. Look at these double gaps into the declining 50-day moving average, two closes above the 21, and small caps even stronger, up 2.72% into the declining 50-day moving average. Let's go to the dollar. Dollar down 0.94%. Dollar and weaker interest rates, two things that the bulls wanted, two things that the bulls got today. Follow through to the downside, gap down to the 50-day moving average on the dollar. How about the VIX? On 4.79%, down to this lovely 15 area, which is where the market has done its best work this year. Hell of a big pull down on the VIX over the last 5 days. Really quite a change in the tide. Started before Powell and he cemented it, and 2 strong days after that. Let's go to precious metals starting to rock. Gold, not that big, up 0.36%, but look at gold stocks, up 4.2% on the day. Clear breakout below this downtrend line. Silver, SLV, 1.7% today, right into the 200-day moving average and failing. Now let's flip to bonds. This is really where the story is. Bonds did close near their lows of the day, but a big gap up, still up 0.60%. That's what we want to see with bond prices. That means yields are coming off. Here's the TLT, the long bond, also up 0.68%, ran into the declining 50-day moving average. Yields 0 TYX down 1.43%. Note how it bounced at the 50-day moving average. So is the pullback going to end a little bit right here? Today's low and these two gaps to be filled will probably have a lot to say about the success of the market over next week. TNX, the 10-year, closed right at the 50-day moving average after another gap down too. And finally, Bitcoin. Bitcoin down 1.5% today, not really participating. I want to talk about three nice leading stocks today, three that we don't own but are very high on our watch list. A lot of it is earnings related. DraftKings, massive move on huge volume today, up 16.46%. Uh, All-time high close, I'm quite certain. Let's go to the weekly chart. No, a lot of overhead support here. But it paused here from uh, the prior high. So this 34 level, look for a handle here and then another breakout. Uh, Really something uh, to pay attention to with the gap up, the earnings. Still losing money, but only slated to lose a few pennies next year, and 57% earnings growth. A couple other ones, AMD. This is really, since its earnings report, taking a leadership role along with a nice bounce in NVIDIA, but up another 4.1% today. Uber, former leader, wanting to regain its leadership capabilities, but it has 4 days until earnings and NVIDIA semiconductors starting to put in a couple of good days. So very clear undercut and fail at this 400 level. Looked like NVIDIA was coming apart here after that big support level, but a failed breakdown. You see it all the time. Three nice up days on NVIDIA. Let's talk about the progressive exposure that we've got here. I talked about owning 7 to 10 names with 6 to 8%, and then half of the portfolio in the S&P 500. We've done 5 buys on SPXL to get us to uh, about a half of our beta in the S&P 500. And really, with the broad participation, this is doing better than the individual names, probably half of the individual names that we got into. We started out, this was actually Netflix showed strength with its gap up day and really never sold off while the market was finalizing its pullback. 5 straight up days on Netflix now. We bought 2%, 2%, and then another 2%, and another 2%. We're up to 8% of full position in this. Ideally, I've got 6, 8% positions, but that's if those. I've got 6, 8% positions, 48% or so, and then some cash still in T-bills and or for hedging, and then an allocation to the S&P 500. Next one that we did, they're not all going to work, but I don't take a big position in one stock, see that it works before I take another one. I like to spread it out. We really never know who the leaders are going to be. Netflix clearly is one. Another one that looks like it wants to regain its strength and was strong before the market pullback was CrowdStrike. Nice day today, outside positive reversal, up 3%. We've done 2% buys on this. We're up on both of them, looking to add more to this. CCJ, 2% buys on this also. A little bit of a pullback today. Note the lighter volume on the pullback than 2 of the 3 days where it made its move, including the move up on earnings. So we're looking to add to this also. So 8% Netflix, 4% CrowdStrike, 4% CCJ. Uh, these are all 2 and 3% that we've done single buys on and have yet to pyramid because they're really not taking off to the upside. Microsoft looks good, but the S&P's outperformed it since we bought it. We were looking for 2 times the return. This looks fine. We'll add to it if it continues to work. Same thing with Amazon. Somewhat underwhelming, but a gap up, and 5 straight days up on the fourth and fifth day, you're probably not going to get the big gains that you got to the beginning. So look for a little pullback on this and then a chance for us to add to it. Meta, we got into this today on an inside day after a move up after its gap down on earnings. Sometimes that gap down, and look where it found support at the recent lows. Sometimes the gap down gets all of the weak holders out. So we'll be looking to see how that does. Now, one buy that we did that didn't work, we've got 3% in Lilly. It initially gapped up, faded on the gap up day, and down another 2% today, actually closed below the 50-day moving average. They're not going to work. The ones that don't work, you identify it and move your money into the ones that are working. So we're not going to mess around with this if other stocks are taking off to the upside. So with the broad strength that we're seeing, we also added deck today. This is one of the first ones out before the follow through day. 2 nice days after that, consolidating the last 2 days. Normal pullback, still right at 5% above the pivot. So our first buy on those. So 8 different names. Netflix, biggest position, all 4 buys profitable. CrowdStrike, 2 buys, they're both profitable. CCJ, one profitable, one flat. Amazon positive, Microsoft positive, Lilly negative, Meta and Deck we just got into today, and they're slightly positive. So that's the progressive exposure. Uh, we can add up to 2 more names, and then eventually we'll cut 2 names. I really like to not have more than 8, but they got to be working. So we'll be looking for progressive exposure and keeping our watch lists updated, and a lot of work to put in this weekend. I'm in Auburn, but the guys are covering for me, and we'll have an updated 2121 on Monday. And that's going to wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. I already gave you the information. And with that, I'm going to wrap up the abbreviated video for Friday, November 3rd. This is Don Vandenbord with Revere Asset, reminding you it's not how much you make in the market, it's how much of that you can keep. We protected the downside during the most recent pullback. A little slow out of the gate on this move up, but that's very typical coming off the bottom, especially after a break below the 200-day moving average. But if the rally really kicks into gear, uh, leading stocks can far outperform what the market's doing, and that's what we'll be looking for. Thanks for listening and have a great day.